Now, I am here to tell you guys the moment has came. Early this morning, Kelsey Mitchell sent shockwaves throughout the WNBA today, and the news has broken ground, dog. Caitlin Clark and Indiana Fever will keep their backcourt for the 2025 season.
Did you see what just went down in Indiana? The Fever didn't just re-sign Kelsey Mitchell. They sent shockwaves through the entire WNBA. Everyone thought she was gone, headed to Golden State or some other powerhouse. But nope, she's staying put. Now, why is this such a big deal? Imagine this. Kelsey Mitchell, one of the most lethal scorers in the game, joining forces with Caitlin Clark, the rookie phenom taking the basketball world by storm. That's not just a backcourt, that's a nuclear weapon. And the rest of the league, they have no idea what's coming. Can you believe what just happened in Indiana? Everyone thought Kelsey Mitchell was gone, but she's staying put, and the entire WNBA is shook. Golden State was calling. The rumors were flying. Even Candace Parker said Mitchell was leaving. But here's where it gets really interesting. Mitchell didn't just stay, she sent a message to the entire league.
Kelsey Mitchell re-signs with the Indiana Fever. So, the best backcourt in the WNBA is back.
You might be wondering, why is this such a big deal? Well, let me tell you, Mitchell isn't just any player. She's a scoring machine. She averaged 19.2 points per game last season while shooting 47% from the field. That's not just good, that's elite. And here's the crazy part. Since 2018, she's played in 235 out of 240 possible games. That's durability you just can't teach.
What's up, everybody? Kelsey Mitchell here, and I'm a Fever girl again. So to my fans, to the basketball world, I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be back. Indy has been good to me, and hopefully I could pour in and give the same. So here's to being a Fever girl.
You might be wondering what this means for the rest of the league. Well, get ready, because this is just the beginning. Mitchell staying with the Fever isn't just about loyalty. It's about building something special in Indiana. Remember when people used to overlook the Fever? Not anymore. They made the playoffs last year when no one believed in them. And now, they're not just building a team, they're creating a dynasty.
The best backcourt in the WNBA remains intact because Kelsey Mitchell is back, staying with the Indiana Fever and going back-to-back with that backcourt with Caitlin Clark. Of course, Mitchell had been with Indiana her entire career. There was some speculation that she might want to explore other options, but there's no better option for Kelsey than playing along C-squared, as she calls her.
Think about it. Mitchell and Caitlin Clark in the backcourt. That's not just unfair. That's downright scary. Mitchell is an elite off-ball scorer who creates space and opportunities for her teammates, especially Clark. Add in Aaliyah Boston dominating the paint, and you've got a recipe for greatness.
Because Kelsey Mitchell had the most notoriety of her career, the easiest time of her career on the court, and now has a chance to compete for championships with that core alongside Clark and, of course, Aaliyah Boston.
But here's the kicker. The league still doesn't see it coming. They're about to learn the hard way that the Fever aren't just chasing a playoff spot. They're coming for the crown. And the Las Vegas Aces better watch out because there's a new powerhouse in town and they're hungry. You know what really stands out? The Indiana Pacers publicly celebrated Mitchell's return. That wasn't just a nice gesture, it was a sign of the respect and recognition the Fever are starting to command. They're no longer just a little sister team. They're becoming a force to be reckoned with.
They're going to win a lot more games. They're going to just wreak havoc throughout this league. And I believe they're going to beat the Las Vegas Aces this season.
Now you might be thinking, okay, they've got Mitchell and Clark, but how's this really going to work on the court? Well, let me tell you, it's not just good, it's potentially game-changing. We're talking about one of the deadliest backcourts the WNBA has ever seen.
And the idea Mitchell would want to go anywhere else was always a little odd. It was always a little strange because, again, she became a much bigger star. She shined in the role. Her life was made easier on the court, and she gained so many new fans because of how gifted a bucket getter she is.
Picture this. You've got Kelsey Mitchell, who can score from literally anywhere on the court. She's not just a shooter, she's a walking bucket. And then there's Caitlin Clark, a human highlight reel. Every time she touches the ball, something incredible happens. But here's where it gets really interesting. It's not just about their individual skills, it's about how they complement each other.
Right? Like the downside to losing Kelsey Mitchell would have been tremendous. And now they've got the new coach in Stephanie White, which was obviously a huge, big deal. And they've got that core. And I know I've said this before and I've been hammering the point home, but that foundation is in place.
Mitchell is an off-ball scoring machine. She can catch and shoot, cut to the basket, and space the floor like nobody's business. Meanwhile, Clark is a playmaking wizard who can create shots out of thin air. Did you know she averaged 8.2 assists per game in her senior year at Iowa? That's not just good, that's historic.
She was there when they got the number 1 pick, and Caitlin Clark, obviously not a good team. The team that gets the number 1 pick in the draft is not a good team. That's a general rule. Something you could take to the bank. And then all of a sudden they're in the playoffs.
Now, imagine trying to defend against that. You focus on Clark. Mitchell burns you. You lock in. On Mitchell, Clark finds the open teammate. It's like a basketball version of whack-a-mole, except the moles are scoring machines, and you're the poor defender trying to keep up. But wait, there's more. Don't forget about Aaliyah Boston dominating in the paint. This isn't just a backcourt. It's a three-headed monster that can attack defenses in so many ways, it's almost unfair.
At the same time, this is a situation that allows someone to be destined to thrive. Destined to thrive. You get to play with a once-in-a-lifetime player in Caitlin Clark, who brings once-in-a-lifetime attention. An organization that knows what they're doing, where you've been, where you're going to be celebrated.
And you know what's crazy? Some people still don't see what's coming. They're looking at Mitchell and Clark individually, but they're missing the bigger picture. This duo is going to elevate the Fever's fast-paced offensive style. Both players excel in transition and can finish strong at the rim. It's like adding rocket fuel to a sports car. Remember when people used to laugh at the Indiana Fever? Well, those days are over. Last season, they shocked everyone by making the playoffs when no one gave them a chance, and that was despite some serious challenges holding them back. But now, they've got Stephanie White, a coaching mastermind who's already fixing their biggest weakness: defense.
As for Stephanie White, she's a basketball guru. She comes in, implement a whole new style, and fix the biggest problem on the team, which was defense. They're going to make it a hell of a lot further than what they did last year, bro.
Oh, you might be thinking, okay, they made the playoffs, but so what? Well, here's where it gets really interesting. The Fever aren't just looking to sneak into the postseason anymore. They're building something bigger, something that could shake up the entire league. And I'm not just talking about Mitchell and Clark lighting up the scoreboard. Think about it. You've got young stars like Clark and Boston, veterans like Mitchell, and a coach who knows how to put it all together. It's like they're assembling the perfect basketball recipe, and the rest of the league doesn't even know what's cooking.
So there you have it. Kelsey Mitchell back with the Indiana Fever. Really exciting news for fans of the team, because I think that was the only thing that was needed to make free agency a success, if you will. Not a smashing success as of yet, because they still have to upgrade the rest of the roster, but that was the move that needed to happen. That was the move that they needed to solidify for it not to be a failure.
But here's the real kicker. Everyone's so focused on the Fever's explosive offense that they're missing the biggest piece of the puzzle. Remember how we said Stephanie White is fixing their defense? Well, that's not just coach speak. She's got a secret weapon that's about to turn this team into a nightmare for opponents. Now, you might be wondering, what kind of secret weapon are we talking about? A new defensive scheme? A game-changing training technique? Or maybe it's something completely unexpected, something that'll make you say, why didn't I think of that?
She'll get a ton of all-star votes. She'll sell a ton of jerseys. She'll have her life made easier with the passes she receives, the defenses she faces because of the attention of the other players. She'll get to go off, and she's fun to watch. Like, look, I don't care where Kelsey was playing. She's fun to watch, fast. Got that boogie in her game. Brilliant to watch in that regard. Bucket getter, born bucket getter.
The truth is, it's not just about X's and O's. It's about a whole new way of playing that's going to leave other teams scrambling to keep up. And when you combine that with the offensive firepower we've been talking about, let's just say the rest of the league better start paying attention. Are we witnessing the birth of the WNBA's next dynasty? It might sound crazy now, but trust me, in a few months, you'll be nodding your head, thinking back to this moment when you first heard it. Because the Indiana Fever aren't just coming to play, they're coming to dominate.
This is major because for the simple fact, let's say they don't decide to get anybody. They still made the playoffs last year. We know they could have done a hell of a lot better if it wasn't for Christie's size kind of sabotaging the team a little bit, allegedly.
If you think that's an overstatement, just wait until you see what's coming next. This team isn't just good, they're potentially great, and they're about to prove it to everyone who ever doubted them. You might be thinking, okay, the Fever look good, but can they really take on the top dogs? Well, let me tell you something. They're not just looking to compete. They're coming for the crown. And you know who should be watching their back? The Las Vegas Aces. That's right. There's a new powerhouse in town, and they're hungry.
All the Indiana Fever need is a bench. They get a good solid bench. And a good point forward that can shoot. They good, bro. At the end of the day, that is what I believe they need to compete for a championship.
But here's where it gets really interesting. The Fever aren't quite there yet. They're still missing one key piece. Can you believe that one player could be the difference between a playoff exit and a championship parade? It's true. They need a solid power forward, someone who can rebound, defend, and stretch the floor. Add that piece, and suddenly you're not just talking about a playoff team. You're talking about a title contender.
I don't think they have enough yet to do it. It'll be great to see because at the end of the day, you still got big powered super teams out there, dog. It's going to be tough to see them kind of get over the hump because let's say they do make it out the first round. I don't see them making it out the second. Let's just all be for real, keep it 1,000 here. As much as I would love to see them go to the championship as of right now, I feel like we just don't have the pieces. That's not to say we can't get it in the next 4 or 5 days. That 4 or 5 days, that could change everything.
Now, you might be wondering, who could possibly fit this bill? Well, let's just say the Fever's front office has a short list that would make even the Aces nervous. They're not just looking for another scorer. No, they're searching for a defensive anchor who can also hit those crucial threes. It's like finding a unicorn in the basketball world. But if anyone can do it, it's this Fever team.
Kelsey Mitchell was a superstar. And for her to stay with Indiana and no one else get her, bro, she could have left. And that's what I'm trying to get my head around with Satu Sabali. Why not come to an organization that is pretty much the Lakers of the WNBA right now? I mean, like, they're the hottest team in the damn league. You have the Michael Jordan of the league on your team, bro. The endorsements, the viewership. And with the new CBA getting done, why wouldn't you want to come join Caitlin Clark and what they got going on here in Indiana?
18-0. See, most people think the Aces are unstoppable and the Fever are still building, but here's the truth bomb. They're both more vulnerable than you'd expect. The Aces, yeah, they've got a star-studded lineup that looks invincible on paper. But did you know they actually struggle when their bench takes the floor? That's right. Their depth is their Achilles heel.
It's either you're a low-key Caitlin Clark hater. You're like, I'm just like, because the money's there. Now, I can see somebody maybe not want to go to Indy because of the weather. It do get kind of cold, like being in the Midwest. I'm one to attest to that. I live in the Midwest.
Meanwhile, everyone's underestimating the Fever's potential. With Caitlin Clark joining forces with Kelsey Mitchell, they've got firepower for days. So how close are the Fever to challenging the Las Vegas Aces? Closer than you think. With Mitchell's deadly scoring, Clark's playmaking wizardry, and Boston dominating the paint, they're already a force to be reckoned with. Add in that missing power forward piece, and you've got a recipe for a basketball revolution.
The foundation is in place. And that was the most important thing because that's the hardest thing to get. That's the hardest thing to get is the foundation that they have. And now they can just build around it and, amplify it. The pieces are in place that are the hardest to attain.
And if you think that's just hype, well, you might want to think again. The Fever aren't just building a team, they're creating a dynasty. They're not just coming for a playoff spot, they're coming for the whole damn thing. The burning question now is, who will make the first move in this high-stakes chess match? All right, let's wrap this up. Can you believe what we've just witnessed? The Indiana Fever didn't just make a move. They sent a message to the entire WNBA. They're not here to participate. They're here to dominate. With Mitchell, Clark, and Boston leading the charge, this team isn't just building for the future. They're ready to win. Win now. And you know what? The rest of the league better take notice.
This is probably the biggest signing of the offseason was them keeping Kelsey Mitchell. We know there was a lot of speculation about her going to Golden State. Even Candace, whatever her name, Candace Parker, she was on record saying that she believes she was going to go to the Golden State Valkyries. That's where all that information came from. And as of right now, I believe Kelsey Mitchell staying with the Indiana Fever is the biggest signing of the offseason.
About it. Mitchell could have gone anywhere, but she chose to stay. Why? Because something special is brewing in Indiana. This isn't just about one player or one season. It's about creating a dynasty that could shake up the entire league. And if you're not excited yet, you're about to be. So get ready. Basketball fans, the Fever are about to set the league on fire, and you won't want to miss a single moment. Trust me, when they start running teams off the floor, you'll be glad you saw it coming first. This isn't just basketball, it's history in the making.